I'm out here at Fort de Mutzig once more, and today, well, I get to see some of the new things that they have built since I was here last time. You need to understand, this is a museum that is continuously evolving. So we're back here at Mutzig because it's not just a museum, it is an evolving museum. And what they've done is something new. What did you do since last time?
So here we are working on the exhibition for the well, for the water supply, and so you can actually see better the upper part of the well, also a map just behind me for the connection between the buildings, and 4 wells were here on the fort, and so we can maybe a little bit more understand the exhibition here of the well. Just behind you, you have also another pump for the water. And so we have made it for a few days. You can see it since last week in the exhibition.
And this is how it was when the fort was in operation.
Yeah.
They had a pump. But we are not on the lower floor. We're pretty high up.
We're a little bit higher. It was not here in this building, but we want to show a lot of tools of the rest of the fort actually. Just to remember, we can see only 10% of the fort, so the rest is also really interesting, and so you can maybe a little bit more see what is on the rest, but here in the 10%.
You're actually preparing for your 40th anniversary of the opening of the museum.
Exactly. So it's 40 years, a really important birthday for the fort, and so we are preparing the exhibition with a lot of pictures. How did we found the fort, the rooms of the fort completely destroyed sometimes, and so we'll see the rooms but also the restoration. And today we don't need a picture, you just need to visit to see the fort and the amazing work of the volunteers of our association.
And this wedge would then connect to
the well, just over here. We are working still today. We don't know a lot of systems of this well. They had 4 wells, the Germans on the fort, but not even one was complete until 1945. So we miss a lot of documentation of this well, and so we are working on it, trying to make a model of an engine for the well, because we have nothing here, and so it's the work for the next weeks, months and years, of course, and maybe also a model of the entire well, from the pump until down, 200 meters down was this well.
Yeah. You think that we're just talking about water and wells. It's not a big deal. But throughout history, you need to understand there's nothing more important than water. First of all, we're made of it. Second of all, there's an untold amount of forts through a number of wars that have surrendered simply because they ran out of water. Fort Vaux is one of them. And another thing about Mutzig that I always love is so many innovations was tested here, and then they proliferated to other forts.
They had windows here, or the Kaserne.
On the right side.
On the right side.
The part of the doors were closed, and you see a little bit the window protected now with an armor part for the ventilation.
Those I see a lot of, all the way up to the actually the east wall have the same armored covers.
This building was made by the German in 1899, but after they have modernized it, they have closed the concrete here. The entire wall, you had a window here, and with the daylight they can have enough light in the wall, in the well or the kitchen on the other side. But of course, with the electricity, they have now ventilation, enough air, fresh air, and enough light. And so they have closed everything here. You have just one window, but several. They were protected also with armored parts. And so we try to make an exhibition also on this subject here.
And that was one of the later upgrades after the 1885 shell crisis. all of a sudden ships became a whole lot more deadly. You needed more reinforced, more cement, and you needed smaller windows for people to not shoot through. And you have a new model.
Exactly, you have a model about the build of the fort and especially the railway system and what did they need for the builds, of course. So you have the railway in Mutzig, and after to go up to climb the hill, you have a special system. And so you can see here a model made by our two volunteers, Francis and François. And so it's just open since a few weeks, also with the tools to build the fort, the buildings, and so on. They have built 50 bunkers and make about 500,000 cubic meters concrete here. So just amazing work.
And I am one of those people who will take a physical model any day over a digital representation. Digital just doesn't give you the same specs as a model does. It is so much neater to see something physical. They did a really good job with this. That gate, does that still exist?
No.
And that's gone. Oh. Yeah, Mutzig is up a hill where you can see everything and defend Strasbourg. Look at that. Look at the work they did. And they put the Kaiser here. Come on, you gotta give it to these guys. All volunteers. I always thought the ventilation was such an amazing thing in these places. And I never visit this place without visiting the little Fahrpanzer. However, this is not actually a Fahrpanzer, this is the observation version of one.
And there are two more Fahrpanzer positions right there, next to the renovated Kaserne. And down here is the main artillery. Well, of this sector anyway.
More upgrades to the museum at Fort Mutzig. Here's the other setup they did. They did the observation bunkers, and you have the periscopes for the exhibition that was not here last time I was here. So now you got more reasons to come see what things really looked like back in the day. And this is what the inside of the observation turret would look like. And you may all remember the episode I did from here last year, where Bernard and I crawled inside the little turret where the observation was set up, or should have been set up. And this is exactly what it would look like back in its day, which is not very different from how it actually looks, except for the spiders. This is a beautiful long setup, all the way down to the floor. And I had no idea there was a rangefinder in there. How gorgeous is this? Here we go.
So you have here the model of the observatory 1904. Only three on the fort. On the eastern front one, and the observatory number 5, number 6. The last one is today in Poland, in the city, in those times in German, Graudenz. And so you had 8 systems to observe. We have found 2 again, just here down under. One thanks to TV, a TV show in France. You can sell something, and so one of our volunteers just checked it and said, good, Carl Zeiss, Jena, this was here. And also 3 letters down under, PBO, so in German, Panzerbeobachtungsstand Ost. So on the eastern fort you have just one artillery observatory, this one. And so you have just buy it, and so you can see it during the visits too.
So this is the equivalent to you found one of yours on eBay.
Exactly. So you have also behind me one model and one real periscope. In those times you have also the first submarines, so they have the idea why can't we use some periscopes in the fortifications too. So one is Zeiss, and the other one behind me is Goetz from the city of Berlin. And so they just try to observe in an infantry shelter to have less expensive systems, but it does not run because you cannot see how far away with the new systems. So they will use the 05, the other material that you have seen.
Hi, my name is Tino Struckmann. I run Lost Battlefields. I travel every year for several months to the most interesting and sometimes unknown locations of the modern wars, fortresses, nuclear reactors of the Second World War, World War II special project sites, and huge coastal fortifications, big guns, big fortresses of the last many years, joining the evolution of the fortress. If you can, you don't have to, but please join me on Patreon, PayPal, join me on Lost Battlefields, where you in the members area also have access to all the documentation used behind my episodes. You don't have to, but please like, share, follow. It certainly does help with the travel expenses, and gasoline is not getting any cheaper.